Tonight on CFTK-TV News, a Terrace senior is raising concerns on a lack of opportunities, businesses pivot amid the Canada Post strike, and a breakdown of the new federal budget.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. I'm Jaylene Matthews. Pembina Pipeline Corporation says Malaysia's Petronas has signed a 20-year deal for 1 million tons per year of liquefaction capacity at the Cedar LNG project. The deal gives Petronas, one of the largest natural gas producers in Canada, access to the planned natural gas export outlet on the North Coast. Cedar LNG is the liquefied natural gas facility in Kitimat being developed by a partnership between Pembina and the Haisla Nation. It is on track to be in service in late 2028. Pembina previously signed a 20-year take-or-pay liquefaction tolling service agreement for 1.5 million tons per year of LNG at the project. It says it expects to reach definitive agreements for the remaining 500,000 tons per year of capacity by the end of this year. A Terrace senior is raising concerns about what she calls a lack of outdoor and social opportunities for residents in assisted living. CFTK-TV's Helen Asante shares more.
77-year-old Pauline Whitfield, who lives at the McConnell estate, says many seniors feel isolated. She points to facilities like Terrace View Lodge, which locks down by 8:30 and 9 p.m., leaving residents little chance to enjoy nearby attractions.
We've had things going on at the museum here, we've had drone shows. They can't come out. They miss it. And it's ridiculous because I know quite a few people that are over there and they can just sign out for, for a couple of hours and sign in. They're not going anywhere. They're not dangerous. I mean, yes, there are people you don't want to let them loose. And I think that should be taken care of too.
She says she's now planning to move to Kitimat, where she believes there are more activities for seniors.
There's not a heck of a lot for them here, whereas you go into Kitimat and they've got library, you can volunteer. I wanted to volunteer at the hospital there. I have plans of things I want to do there. And again, my psychiatrist says, that sounds like a really good deal,
Whitfield also shares some privacy concerns after being asked by her nurse about her personal income.
The stuff that I've been going through, with the psychiatric nurse coming and wanting to know my income, and I wouldn't tell her because it's none of their business. These people think they're doing something good for me because they're worried about me being a senior. I'm 77 years old. I'm not even allowed to take my own pills right now. Are you sure you can handle your money? I mean, I've been handling money since I was a little kid. I was always given money and share,
And following a short stay in the psychiatric ward at Kesson Regional Hospital, she described the unit as the coldest place she's ever been.
I just spent 2 weeks in the psychiatric ward of the hospital, and it's ice cold there. And I swear that there's no place on earth that has a place like that.
In response, Northern Health says social needs are supported through recreational therapy and community programs. Privacy is safeguarded by law, and comfort issues like room temperatures are addressed promptly by staff with formal channels available for complaints. CFTK-TV News, Helen Asante.
Premier David Eby and Coastal First Nations have signed a declaration calling on the federal government to maintain the oil tanker ban on the North Coast. It says that repealing the tanker ban would risk major projects and cheat BC's economy out of thousands of jobs and billions of dollars in investment in its conservation economy, supporting jobs in fisheries, tourism, renewable energy, and stewardship. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has been calling for the tanker ban to be pulled and says in a statement that the federal government has control of interprovincial trade so that a single premier can't block the most valuable asset of 5 million Albertans. Eby says that along with ruining economic activity on the coast, an oil spill in the region would be impossible to clean up. Coming up next, Christmas postal concerns have businesses pivoting. Canada Post's on-again, off-again deliveries caused by the rotating strike hasn't incited trust in small business owners, and as CTV's Gates Gorin reports, many have pivoted.
It may only be the beginning of November, but track and trail owner Bob Schilf is prepping for a rush of holiday online orders. Canada Post won't be part of that process.
We pivoted pretty quick the first time that Canada Post went on strike, and now with the rotating strikes, we've essentially just have lost confidence in Canada Post.
He's now using a private shipping company after this recent strike caused packages to be stranded.
That cost us, obviously, business, where customers were like, well, I'm not getting the packages, and they needed the product. So it was really frustrating that way.
Schilf isn't the only business feeling the effects. Paper Birch Books has seen some inconveniences.
There's been some delays in sending out packages, and we have had to use alternative services at times.
Co-owner Celine Chuang says customers have been understanding of the strike and what workers are trying to do. Paper Birch continues to support Canada Post, using it for most of its online orders.
I think they have shared values with us, and they have a lot of flexibility and willingness to step up for small businesses, even if it means waiting a little bit longer for things to arrive.
The local union says rotating strikes haven't hit larger cities like Edmonton just yet. The strategy seems to be focused on smaller areas where there's a concern those offices will be closed. Still, workers are hoping for a fair resolution.
The people are looking for stability, and they're looking to see that we have a contract of a period of time and to know that we're going to be doing the work, and that's all we really want to do is the work.
So while Schilf is open to returning to Canada Post,
we also want to support, the organization. So, that's to yet be determined.
The ongoing strike may continue to create some uncertainty just as the holiday shopping season begins. Gates Gorin, CTV News, Edmonton.
The American Supreme Court today heard arguments over the legality of President Trump's global tariffs. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio reports.
At issue, whether an emergency law dating back to the 1970s allows the president to impose certain tariffs without congressional approval. The Trump administration in April declared an emergency over trade deficits and used that declaration to justify tariffs.
The core of their argument is that the imbalance in trade between the United States and other countries has created a national emergency for the economy and for national security, and that these tariffs are a needed response to that emergency and therefore authorized implicitly by Congress in this 1970s law.
But a group of business owners in blue states sued, claiming Trump invented that emergency. Rick Woldenberg, the lead plaintiff, says businesses are getting hit hard. He runs a toy company.
In 2024, I believe that we calculated that we paid $2.3 million in tariffs. We calculated that based on our 2025 budget, the closest we could come to an apples-apples comparison, it would have been $100 million.
The stakes are high. If the court rejects the tariffs, the U.S. government could owe tens of billions of dollars in refunds to businesses. And President Trump would lose a key bargaining chip in negotiations with other countries. Trump calling this case, quote, life or death for our country.
He's been able to sign peace deals all over the world and end global conflicts and literally save lives. He's been able to bring in trillions of dollars of investments into our country.
President Trump has said these tariffs in the long term will boost manufacturing in the U.S. After oral arguments today, the justices are expected to rule by next summer. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
Turning to the weather, we've got a lot more wetness in store across the Northwest as temperatures stay mostly above freezing and precipitation continues. Tonight on the North Coast, expect periods of rain, winds from the south at 40 kilometers an hour, gusting to 60 near midnight, a low of 9 degrees. Over the next few days on the North Coast, expect more rain and showers right through the weekend. Daily highs 7 to 11 degrees, overnight lows 6 to 9 degrees. Tonight in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect periods of rain and a low of plus 3 degrees. Over the next few days in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect lots more rain, daily highs from 5 to 7 degrees, overnight lows between 2 and 4 degrees. Tonight in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, it's looking mainly cloudy with a 30% chance of flurries and a low of 0 degrees. Over the next few days in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, expect continued rain for the most part, but it's looking like the sun will come out on Saturday. Daily highs 3 to 6 degrees, overnight lows from +3 to -3 degrees. Checking your highways around the Northwest according to Drive BC. On Highway 16, watch for bridge maintenance, road maintenance, utility work, electrical maintenance, as well as slippery sections. On Highway 37, there's slippery sections. On Highway 37A, there's a section with falling rocks, as well as bridge maintenance underway. On the Niska Highway, watch for mowing. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come, Mark Carney's first budget takes some conservative heat. Mark Carney's much anticipated budget is out, with influences like the trade war causing adjustments. CTV's Mike Lecouteur reports.
Every Canadian should feel that there's something for them.
Borrowing the election campaign slogan, Mark Carney's government is hoping to build a strong country by stimulating the economy with billions in spending. Over the next 5 years, the Liberals are promising $141 billion in new measures, which the government plans to offset with $51.2 billion in savings. So how deep is the budget going into the red? Well, Canada's deficit for this fiscal year is $78.3 billion. It's projected to shrink slightly, hitting $56.6 billion in 4 years. The finance minister blamed part of it on the trade dispute with the U.S. and support measures for affected industries.
Well, I think Canadians would understand 75% of it is really the headwind that we have faced, but Canada is not unique in that. The world has faced it, and you see it with global growth, which has been readjusted lower.
For the first time, operational and capital spending has been separated in this budget. The document shows the operational side will hit a surplus in 3 years. But some experts warn that change could lead to some creative accounting.
It is subject to a little bit of abuse. I would rather see a much narrower definition of capital investment than has been employed in this particular budget.
One of the biggest spends is $81.8 billion over 5 years on national defense, which will get Canada to its NATO commitment of 2%. Now, the government has also earmarked $51 billion over the next decade for new infrastructure projects in something called the Build Communities Strong Fund. There's $1.7 billion for a new strategy to attract international talent. And the Build Canada Homes program is getting $13 billion over 5 years, including $2.8 billion just for Indigenous housing. Still, the Conservatives and Bloc Québécois are already giving it a thumbs down.
On behalf of all the Canadians who can no longer afford to eat, heat, or house themselves because of Liberal inflation, we Conservatives cannot support this costly Liberal budget.
The Green Party and NDP aren't shutting the door yet.
There's positive and negatives in this budget, and we're going to take a comprehensive look and weigh it out in the aggregate.
Nova Scotia MP Chris D'Entremont announced he is crossing the floor from the Conservatives to the Liberals. In a statement, the Tories criticized D'Entremont for supporting their platform in April, but backing the Liberals just 7 months later. Either way, the government now needs only 2 more votes to pass its budget.
Caps, not cuts, was a campaign promise of Mark Carney's, but this new budget may not have held very true to that promise. CTV's Abigail Biman explains.
In 1995, he presented his budget.
The 1995 Liberal budget is remembered for its cuts. No accident today's finance minister referenced it, introducing his new plan.
$60 billion in saving over 5 years.
As expected, public service cuts top the list.
In a word, it's bad. It's bad for Canadians.
The government plans to cut 16,000 jobs and hopes incentivizing early retirement, attrition, and voluntary leaves will shed another 12,000 for a total of 28,000 jobs by 2028-29.
When Mark Carney and the Liberals ran, they talked about caps, not cuts. What happened to that? What happened to caps, not cuts? We are now seeing cuts, so they're walking that back.
But no word on how much money the moves will save overall.
No money is assigned to it, so that's a little bit vague and somewhat disappointing.
The budget includes a breakdown of a further $22 billion in savings, including other cuts over 4 years. $5.8 billion saved by aligning RCMP disability benefits with the Consumer Price Index. A whopping $4.4 billion by dropping the price the government reimburses for medical cannabis benefits for RCMP and veterans from $8.50 to $6 a gram. $2.7 billion in foreign aid cuts. $1.1 billion in savings to get rid of aging defense fleets. And chopping the Trudeau-era $2 billion tree planting program, not even half planted, will save $0.2 billion.
It's even less than what we thought based on what the government had said before.
Going back to the Prime Minister's language of sacrifice and austerity, experts tell CTV News this budget does not cut as much as some had predicted, but say it is more of an austerity budget than we've seen in a few years. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
A British Columbia regulator has ordered Amazon to pay a $10,000 penalty over a failed delivery. A complaint to Consumer Protection BC said Amazon failed to deliver an order for electronic equipment, although Amazon said it was delivered. And BC's Consumer Protection ruled it's not good enough to leave a package on a doorstep or with another person unless the buyer consents. Turning to the markets now, Canada's main stock index gained more than 300 points, helped by strength in the basic materials sector, while U.S. markets also climbed higher. The Canadian dollar gained nearly 0.2 cents. The price of gold was up $32.40. Oil dropped 96 cents. Natural gas was down by 8 cents. Aluminum was down $49.50. In Toronto, the TSX was up close to 326 points. The Venture Index was up by 12 points. In New York, the Nasdaq was up 151 points and the Dow was up 226 points. A shocking theft of gear from a neighborhood hockey arena has disappointed the organization. CTV's Yvonne Raymond explains.
South Island Ravens, underscoring positive energy for players, are stumped by a hit off the ice.
It's pretty upsetting. I don't know why they would do that.
Police are investigating the theft of equipment, including logo jackets, skates, and hard-to-find junior goalie gear from the team's shared storage locker at Wandafuka Rec.
This isn't your typical team. This is a team that is providing a lot of community support. It's a team that's focused on kids and adults of all ages who have developmental disabilities.
Basically, the kids that don't fit into mainstream hockey, you know, a lot of kids on the autism spectrum can fit into mainstream hockey younger, but as things get faster and stuff, they get left behind, and it's not really fair. So we give them a place to come, have fun, play hockey.
Police think the theft happened over 3 weeks, starting in late September.
It was probably trickled and taken out kind of slowly, rather than one big haul.
Investigators and the team are appealing to the public.
I hope something happens where we can get that equipment back, you know?
If it was you and you're watching this, you feel guilty, please make it right. Please make it right. Turn yourself in, give us a call.
With minor hockey help,
this is similar to what went missing.
The Ravens say they've been lent an assist to keep players on the ice.
We're just having the time of our lives when we come out here and play, so yeah, just such a great organization to be a part of.
Community donations are going to gear replacement too, money the team wishes it had to grow the program instead. Yvonne Raymond, CTV News, Colwood.
An Indigenous Friendship Center in Fredericton has been teaching traditional skill to keep knowledge alive, learning how to make a birch bark canoe. Sarah Plowman caught a glimpse of the vessel set to launch tomorrow.
Rivers were once the highways, canoes the vehicles.
built of birch bark, cedar, and ash trees.
They call us the Wolastoqiyik. We are the people of the river.
Rodney Bear's ancestors built these vessels, but he never had until now.
For me, it's like revitalization of culture.
Under One Sky Friendship Center is behind the project. Recruited artist Shane Purley-Dutcher to lead.
I don't call myself a master builder. I'm still learning myself, but like I said, I built 6 canoes, so I know enough about the process to get through to the final step.
In May, they went to the forest to gather materials, climbing nearly 10 meters up a birch tree to shave off the bark for the base. They cut a cedar tree for the planks, ash for the thwarts, and dug up spruce roots for the lashing.
Bring it back and boil it, take off the bark, split it.
This canoe has been their vehicle to learn more about Wolastoqiyik culture, history, and identity.
This is like a physical language and a spiritual one too, but it's like you're working with your hands, you're working with the elements. And as you're working with these elements, you're starting to see like why they may have done things a certain way.
It's something that we need to continue to do to pass down to our future generation of students and people that want to learn the tradition to keep this alive.
On Wednesday, the 15-foot canoe will launch and touch water, but it's already touched these builders.
The more I can soak up, the more I can teach, so that our culture isn't lost.
Learning a skill that dates back generations to ensure it's maintained for the future. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton.
As we pay tribute to those who served our country this November, one organization is honoring Veterans Week with a hand-stitched blanket. CTV's Sean Varden reports.
It's an annual tradition marking the beginning of Veterans Week.
And bringing together youth, cadets as you see all around, along with veterans. And it's about carrying that torch of remembrance that we all have an obligation to carry forward.
A candlelight tribute put on by the Canadian War Museum and Veterans Affairs Canada to honor fallen heroes. This year's features a Canadian poppy blanket, brought here from Winnipeg, 8,000 hand-stitched symbols of remembrance made by people from across the country.
We do small events at school growing up, we may go to Remembrance Day ceremonies, but this was a way for me and people like me and other people across Canada to actually show our thanks, and that's why it's so important to me.
The blanket isn't the only special addition to this year's ceremony. The Royal Canadian Mint unveiling a new $2 coin commemorating the 25th anniversary of the repatriation of Canada's unknown soldier. The special coin was designed by the same artist who created the bronze work on the unknown soldier's tomb.
This is the most appropriate place to unveil this, to give the people, give a little something back to the people who serve us so much by letting them see this coin firsthand.
Cadet groups and local youth paying tribute to the service, sacrifice, and resilience of those who put their lives on the line for Canada. On duty to place candles from those in the crowd who have served.
So I saw the cadets going up carrying those candles. They represent so many different ethnicities and spirituality and backgrounds, and so it just really shows how diverse Canada really is.
Sean Varden, CTV News.
That's our news for now. For more local news, come find us on CFTK-TV.com. We're also on TikTok, YouTube, X, and Blue Sky. Make sure to subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for watching.